cloud chaser, and I just wanted to do just a quick video today. And this one is regarding sobriety and drinking holidays. So, holidays can be difficult for alcoholics, addicts, just people with drinking problems in general, but I'm talking more specifically about drinking holidays. So, today is July 3rd, tomorrow is July 4th, and I've actually talked to some people that I responded to from a podcast I was on and some of my own videos in my email that listen and aren't actually from America. July 4th, 4th of July, in America, we celebrate the birthplace of America by drinking and apparently legalizing arson. Very weird. Fireworks is like a big deal. Like, I remember as a kid, I was told never to play with fire except on one day in July where you play with fire that shoots and explodes. And anyway, my point being is that there are certain holidays, at least especially in America, where they are attuned to drinking. As we're not quite talking about like Christmas or Easter or even, holidays that have a little bit more sort of substance to the significance, which is not to say holidays like Labor Day or 4th of July or Memorial Day don't have substance to them, but there's other traditions that aren't so revolved around like recreational things or drinking. One of the ironies about like Labor Day is most Labor Days that I've spent, I haven't done an ounce of work. I've just been drinking. And, one thing I want to say right off the bat is that, like, as an alcoholic, I actually, I didn't really worry when I was in active alcoholism. I didn't really worry about holidays too much because I was never like, man, how am I going to stay sober tomorrow? It's the 4th of July or tomorrow's Memorial Day. It's Memorial Weekend. How am I going to stay sober? Most of the time I was like, how am I going to stay sober because tomorrow is tomorrow. Like, tomorrow's another day. But I know people that just struggle with drinking or people that are trying to get sober. This can be a very big problem because one of the weird things about these types of holidays is that it's kind of these like snapshot moments in society where normal people kind of drink alcoholically. Like the atmosphere, people will go to the lake or go to the beach or go to house parties or do backyard things. They'll get together. A lot of people have work off. A lot of people will have work maybe not even the next day, so they can be as hungover as they want to be. And it can be a big problem because, like, I remember, especially, I'd always been an alcoholic. And I remember when I was in college and in my drinking days of college, it was a little bit easier to be an alcoholic because I could kind of blend in because everybody else, at least around me, was also binge drinking and kind of drinking alcoholically. So it wasn't as noticeable. So when you are faced with trying to be sober on these holidays and everybody else around you is drinking, it's not the same thing as like having a family get-togethers or being around people where you have to like sneak drinking or you have to like try not to drink or other ways to where you can't let on that you have a drinking problem. On these types of days, it's like it can almost be a free-for-all. You can again blend in with people, except you're the one with the crippling drinking problem, but not for one of these days, not for the good old 4th of July or Memorial Day or anyway. I make a lot of these videos because I don't want to just go over similar platitudes or things that are said a lot in recovery before. They are important. A lot of people will say things like, if you're trying to be sober on these types of holidays, make sure you always have things like a backup plan. Make sure you always take go there with your own car or some way where you can leave, if things get just too tempting or a little too itchy or a little too stressful. And I think that's a good idea. In my opinion, I think one other idea is to not just leave when things start to get a little hairy or you start to crave a little bit or things get stressful. I wouldn't even say wait till that point. I would just say have a set time in your mind when you're going to leave and have a place that you plan to go leave. If you have people that you also know in recovery, if you have people that aren't as big as drinkers, or if there's some sort of like solitary like hobby or activity that you like to do that you can go forth and do, because it's good to leave a place if you're feeling tempted to drink. But one of the worst pitfalls is if you do that and then you just go home by yourself and now you're just kind of like stuck, and you're just kind of sitting there, and you're just thinking about, man, I wish I was drinking with those people right now. And so like, again, just a piece of my own like advice, take it or leave it for what you're worth, is don't just wait to where things get uncomfortable. And another thing too that I like to expound upon is that I know for a lot of people around these sort of times, or these like special types of days that revolve around drinking, it can be hard just because of the aesthetics of it. Because you see people drinking, they have like all sorts of beers or liquors. People, there's some always new hard seltzer every year, or some new type of fangled beer, or cool new beer can covers with the American flag, or just whatever, just all that type of stuff. You see drinking, like your world becomes like a drinking, like a Bud Light commercial for a second. And of course that can obviously be a problem, but I think one thing that's like really underrated, and this doesn't just have to do with like the holidays or get-togethers that revolve around drinking, is it's not only hard to remain sober, or not to be so tempted by these moments or these events because people around you are drinking, or because you see drinking. It's also difficult because it's just fucking stressful to be around drunk people. I mean, let's be honest. Drunk people are annoying if you're sober, because you are kind of out of the loop. I mean, there's so many times I've in times of sobriety, I've been around drunk people where, for some people, the person with the worst whiskey breath always has to tell you a secret, or there's somebody who has to like get into some big important philosophical conversation, even though they're like trying to smoke their cigarette backwards as they're doing it. There's people that are emotional, or they repeat themselves over and over. And I've heard a lot of people say sometimes it's fun to go to these get-togethers because you get to watch how stupid people act. And maybe a few times that can be fun. For me, it was never really that fun because it's just so irritating. It's annoying. And part of it is that, of course, if you struggle with the urges to drink, you'll want to drink, but you'll also kind of want to drink just because you kind of just want to be in the mix of where everybody else is at. So, I mean, one thing to just be cognizant of is not just to think about, I'm seeing a lot of drinking, I'm seeing people drinking, but just being around drunk people. I mean, they're basically like, just really tall toddlers at times. And it's stressful to be around drunk people because they're unpredictable. They'll just start fights for no reason. Or, someone will give you like a hairy eyeball and you won't know why. And in their drunk mind, they've been slighted. I mean, just think of all the stupid shit you've ever seen at bars or parties or stuff. Drunk people are unforgettable. I will say one thing you can glean from this, though, is to have some humility in thinking that all the stupid shit that you see other drunk people do, remember that most likely you were doing that as well. And you could at least be grateful that you're not one of those people in this moment, at least for today. So, enjoy the holiday, enjoy the get together, be vigilant of things. And the one last thing I want to say too is that a lot of times when, you're talking, especially a lot of this is more geared towards alcoholics, when you're talking about like dealing with these types of days, 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day, other holidays, block parties, get-togethers, they're seen in this light of like this obstacle that you just kind of have to get through. Like, at least hopefully I can make it through like this day. And, it's important to be mindful of that, but also try to think, I also want to enjoy myself. This doesn't have to be something where I just like, hopefully I can make through this. Like, try to find a way to enjoy yourself. Don't just have this be some roadblock you have to get over, or some obstacle you have to make through. Like, there's ways you can find to enjoy yourself. And this isn't just about, I'm not going to drink for today, which if you don't, that's a victory, and be grateful for that. But also try to enjoy yourself. Anyways, have fun, holidays, be safe, blah, 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 blah. Thanks for listening.